This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. As you can see, it's getting pretty crazy out there, to say the least. But remember, while all this stuff is going on, remember that they foretold us that these are the things that they were going to do to our society. From predictive programming and all these films, which I've covered, quarantine films, outbreak films, right? People see it now really happening, and they're like, it's legit, it's legit, it's legit. They fall in line, they fall in line, they fall in line, and then they comply. But what's scariest about it is what I'm going to show you, because there's no film, there's no book that had more predictive programming than 1984. It's like the blueprint that all of us who are awake talk about and follow. But now I want to show you these things, because you might have read the book and might have forgotten about the book. But it's amazing if you go back and you even just watch the film and watch some of the scenes. But I'm going to show you some of these scenes to show you exactly what's happening now, is exactly how they're pretty much ushering in the New World Order through this so-called outbreak that has occurred. Number one, what are we seeing? We're seeing curfews in effect, right? Curfews all around the United States of America, worldwide, soon to be everywhere, let's just say, right? In America, they're pretending it's state by state. 8 p.m. curfews here, 8 p.m. curfews there, shelter down, lockdowns, all this other stuff. This was foretold in the book 1984. In the year, you know what year this came out? Do you know what year it came out? It is 2020. This film was from 1956. Think about how long ago that is. Think about how long they've been planning to do this stuff, to herd the sheep and herd the cattle. And this even shows you then curfews in effect and your punishment for violating the curfew, just like we're hearing now, right? If you break curfew, you will be fined. Restaurant owners, if you deny what we're telling you to do, which is shut down your business, you can be imprisoned. Sound familiar?
From the devastation wrought by the atomic raids of 1965, three great police states rose to divide the world: Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. Atomic weapons were abolished, but not war itself. For only by maintaining the strain and tension of continual conflict could the ruling parties enforce absolute power.
Who are you? 6748 Smith, W.
Where do you work?
In the Ministry of Truth.
Which department?
The Records Department.
What is your business in the people's area?
I had a headache. I thought if I got a little air.
When did you leave work?
1800 hours.
It's now 2200. Report tomorrow morning at 800 hours to Court Administration.
And what's the other big thing that we hear coming out of this? Social distancing, right? Keeping people at bay. That's the thing. All the celebrities just keep going, we have to distance ourselves from each other. We have to be away from each other. We have to contain ourselves and stay away. And the only way we can communicate is through technology, until, of course, they either shut down the internet or tell you that you can catch it through your computer screen, which the people now are so dumb, they're dumb enough to believe that. But social distancing, remember in 1984, social distancing, you couldn't even touch another person, let alone speak to another person without being monitored on camera and being watched. That's what's going on now. And now social distancing is being implemented.
Can you hear me? Sunday afternoon. Go to South Meadow from Central Station. Cross the bridge and follow the river for a half a mile until you come to a fallen tree. Wait for me in the gate. I'll get there by another boat. Can you remember that? Move away from me. Kill your agent! go. We're all right. There's no microphone here.
It takes a little while to realize you're not being overheard.
Or watched. We can look at each other now and not be afraid.
We can say whatever we like to each other.
We can even touch each other. If we want to.
In our society. And of course, they tell you that the reason it's being implemented is because it's for our betterment. It's for them, Big Brother, to protect us. Give me an absolute break. And there's so many other things in 1984 which you can go through. There's so many other things like how the enemy's constantly changing, but how they use television and the propaganda and get everyone riled up to go after whoever they want. This person's bad. Follow Big Brother. Love Big Brother. Big Brother's here to take care of you. So-and-so's the bad guy, right? What have we heard over the years? Oh, Russia's the bad guy. Oh, Korea's the bad guy. What have we even heard recently? People who are conspiracy theorists are the bad guy. Well, that will be what's coming because we're already seeing it, right? Wait until the shot comes out and they go, these are the people who are refusing to get the shot. And they're going to start screaming because they can't go back to their normal way of life unless we fall in line.
And then raped our women. They have tortured and killed the wounded and prisoners, contriving lingering and horrible deaths for those who fall into their hands. While our gallant forces are engaged in a life and death struggle, we face on the home front an enemy who is far more dangerous. One of our own people, the arch-traitor Canada. This is the man, the leader of the underground, who betrayed our glorious revolution and would betray Big Brother. A man whose agents sabotage our glorious 9-year plan, who retards our progress and sells our military secrets to the enemy.
Hang the criminal.
Is trying to tell you that Big Brother has betrayed you into fighting a war against Eurasia that you can never hope to win. He says the Eurasians are good, kind people. They do not want war. They want peace. He actually begs you to make peace with your brothers of Eurasia.
Hate! 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 Hate!
Do you see how this all works? You see how the controlled system works, this planned controlled system that they created through the industrial age, through technology, through all of this stuff. They now have everyone under their thumb. It used to just be, hey, newspapers were the control. This is what's going on around the world. And what have I been talking about on this channel? They're hinting at internet shutdown. Why? So that the one source, the one narrative will be the television. You won't be able to get information from anyone else. You won't be able to share your opinions with anyone else because you're quarantined. There won't be social media for a time period. There won't be YouTube to listen to other voices. There won't be any of that stuff. Maybe you'll be able to interact with your mom or your dad, but they'll keep you quarantined away from everyone until they make it mandatory for people to be quarantined. This is all happening right now, but this is not a surprise to people like me. It's not a shock. Am I surprised that it's happening right now? Well, kind of, because this just really happened out of the blue. And yeah, I mean, you hear truthers and people year after year, they're like, this is the year, this is the year. I get it, right? But in all seriousness, you know, what way were they going to come in, right? How are they going to introduce martial law? How are they going to introduce all of these things to distance us from each other, to divide us, right? Look at the division that we see being created by age groups now. We already have the men versus women, which they've created, right? Those divisions, religious divisions, you know, whether it's atheists and Christians or whatever. And then they create, of course, white versus black. Now they're creating millennials versus baby boomers. And oh, it's the young kids who keep going out and partying. All these videos coming up. Oh, millennials are still going out on spring break. Well, I thought all these places were closed. What are they doing out on spring break? Right? They saw them on the beach and stuff. They're already talking about they've closed beaches in Florida, but whatever. They're showing all these kids out partying going, I don't care what happens to me. And then they go on TV and they go, the news reporters, they say, listen, elderly people, it's these kids that can spread it to you. They're the dangerous ones. So these old people go, these kids need to get in line and blah, blah, blah. And then it's just more division amongst the citizens. This is only going to get crazier and crazier.
Is completely absent from 1984, as he is from so much of modern life in the modern world. Nevertheless, George Orwell was an intelligent man, and he saw that even without God, he saw the basic issue, the basic point, is there anything above human beings? Is there any kind of order? Is there any kind of truth above human beings, which human beings cannot touch, cannot change, which imposes itself on human beings? Or is the world exactly what are human beings number one? Or the party? Is the party number one, or is some objective truth number one? Is there anything that the party cannot change, that the party cannot move, that the party cannot twist, that the party cannot dominate, that the party cannot control? That's the key question. And Winston, at the end of part one, is thinking to himself, 2 and 2 are 4. And freedom means the ability to say that 2 and 2 are 4. That's what he worked out by himself. Interestingly, well, in the end of the third part, when he's in the hands of O'Brien, stretched on his back with shocks and the rest of it, when he's on his back and O'Brien is torturing him, O'Brien holds up 4 fingers and asks Winston, how many fingers am I holding up? And Winston says, 4. Terrible shock. No, I'm holding up 5. I'm holding up 5 fingers. No, says Winston, 4. Shock on the torture machine. And O'Brien is racking Winston until Winston will sincerely say that 4 is 5 or 5 is 4. In other words, the party wants to get inside people's minds and souls until the party controls even 2 and 2 are 4. And the party is going, if the party wishes to say 2 and 2 are 5, then 2 and 2 are 5. They're no longer 4. 2 and 2 will be what the party says they are. In other words, man is number 1. Man is in control. Man is God. And that's where we are at today. It's not ruling us today. Is not a party as brutal, as openly brutal as the Stalinist Russia was. It's not yet a police state imposing upon us to say that 2 and 2 are 5. But the police state, of course, every single one of you knows, is certainly closing in, both here and in the United States for sure and certain. The police state took a great leap forwards with 9/11, that's for certain, and I hope none of you believe that 9/11 is what it was presented to be. It was, of course, the 2 towers came down, but it was absolutely for certain not two aeroplanes which brought down those two towers. They were professionally demolished by a series of demolition charges from top to bottom of the towers. If you doubt that, look up on the internet 911mysteries.com.